Man, what is going on? And what an honor to be able to come live with you. I've got a special guest for you guys to meet today, and excited for you guys to meet Roya. It's funny, I met her at a kind of like at a mastermind type event. Um, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and everyone was introducing themselves. There's all these high achievers in this room up in Park City, and she went. I was like, "That's the kind of lady you got to get to know." And so, Roy has become a good friend of mine. She's a great lady, and she's doing a lot of great work specifically for women. And a lot of my business is probably 80% women. 80% moms. And so I'm excited for you guys to be able to meet her and hear her perspective and her insights. So, Roya, man, you've had an incredible career, a ton of success in the direct sales space. You've been able to really invest into your personal development. You're a mom, you're a wife, you help women from across the country and really across the world. So maybe you could just give us a quick introduction on who you are. And then I want to talk about some ways that we can ramp up the positivity and ramp up our lives during this kind of tricky time. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself real quick.
Oh, I just honor you, first of all, just to be in your presence and to be introduced to your community and to give back in this way. Because Justin, I was literally feasting on Justin Prince videos, one after the other, because I just couldn't stop watching your wisdom and the way that you deliver a message. So it's just incredible that we get to talk today. And the moment I met you, I knew you came with high energy, high vibe, and high level of service. So today we're here and get to partner with you on giving a little bit of service. And I'd actually like to start with a moment and then share a little bit more about what I did. If you don't mind, I just wrap it in that way, because today and this time, it's all about feeling, you can feel overwhelmed with the season that we're in right now. And so many, many years ago, I used to run hotel properties. I used to work 80, 90 hours a week. I was right out of school, and it just so happened on this particular day, it was a very challenging day. There were many, many things that went wrong. And I walked out of the back door. I remember I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I had a business property. I wore DC suits in that hotel property. So I'm in a navy blue, full on tailored suit. And I walk out of the back door and just tears started flooding, because I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want anyone to see that I was having a complete come apart. And I'm heaving and I'm sobbing. I'm walking down the sidewalks behind the hotel through a neighborhood. And I just started praying to God, like, give me answers. I don't know what to do. I'm so overwhelmed and I'm so upset. And all of a sudden, I'm literally standing under an oak tree. And I asked him, please give me an answer. And as your voice to my ear, I could hear him as clearly as that. And he said, life is so much bigger than the moment we're living in right now. And literally at that moment, a flock of birds left the tree. It was as if I was standing in a divine appointment. And I looked down and I picked up an acorn and a leaf to remember the moment. And as much as today can feel so overwhelming and we're adjusting to life as normal now, life is so much bigger than the moment we're living in right now. And I went on to not even know that I would have a huge successful career and became a national sales director in my company, and have been number one in the company twice for personal sharing, top three times for sharing, diamonds for sales, and free cars for 19 years since then, and been able to help a ton of people have free cars and to have hopes and dreams and pathways of possibilities. But in that moment, it felt crushing. And so anytime those kind of moments come again, I always remember life is so much bigger than the moment we're living in right now. So we can relate that to anything. We can relate that to COVID-19. We can relate that to any time that we feel pressed. Wouldn't you agree?
Man, I completely agree. I think that I've been telling people kind of in my community, I've been like, yo, we got many bright days ahead. What I'm saying? Like this is not going to define us. And so I think it's important for us to remember, like, the sun's coming up in the east tomorrow, and sometimes the pressure can feel a little overwhelming right now, and so we start projecting out like what's going to happen with this and this and this. And what I would encourage people to do is like, take a deep breath, like allow yourself to get back to the frontal lobe of your brain. You know, your limbic system is where all your emotions and energy is. The frontal lobe is where all of your logic is. Take a deep breath, allow yourself to get reset back to the frontal lobe of your brain, and just remember, like, let's just get through today. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know exactly what's going to happen in 6 months or in 6 years, but we do know what's going to happen today. We can make, you know, we can plan for tomorrow, but we can live today. And, you know, one of the things that I think is interesting about your business, you know, you build an incredible business in the direct sales world, and you had a ton of success as a pregnant woman, as a pregnant mom during the '08 crash.
Yeah.
I'd actually love for you to kind of share some of your perspectives on how to build a successful business during downtimes.
You know, I went through a lot of seasons over 19 years of my personal business. And now, of course, I'm growing a movement, which I forgot to mention, which is a passion of mine, called She-ness, embracing the freedom of she, which is another service to women. But I've been through 9/11 and I've been through 2008. And in 9/11, I was crossing over to become a sales director. It's called a leader in this company. And right at that pinnacle moment, I live in the Washington, D.C. area, 9/11 hit and we were frozen. And the very next month, October was my last month of complete qualification. And I remember thinking, and it was, what I'm doing enough? Is what I'm doing serious enough, important enough? And so we can ask that question. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll tell you about 2008. But I realized that it's the same thing with what you guys do at any businesses we do. What we're really doing is we're empowering people. We're giving them choices. We're giving them hope. We're giving them an option, a pathway of possibility, and uplifting the human spirit. Because when we believe we can do something, we're unstoppable. When we believe we can't, we're pitiful. And so it's always a choice. We just don't remember that we have choices. And literally, it was a decision made. That month, I needed to cross over an insurmountable number, and it was just this decision that no longer was I going to hover back and forth of whether or not I was going to do something. We operate extremely differently, Justin, when we burn that bridge, when we literally obliterate the option to go in the other direction, and we decide we're going forward, and seas can part and blessings can pour in. And that's what I experienced once I made that hard level decision. And so in 2008, when the market was crashing all around, I was pregnant December 2007. And within about 6 weeks of that pregnancy, I was a done for person. I admire any woman that can do a ton of things while she's pregnant. I was not morning sick. I was morning, I was afternoon, I was middle of the night. I was sick all the time. And it was so bad. I was on the couch and my business had to change. And I happened to bring in an at-home meeting, which I had a fuzzy slipper commute once a week to my basement, where I huddled my group, and we didn't have online like this. And so literally it was one appointment a week. And other than that, it was talking on the phone when I could, if I could. And in adjusting how I did business and empowering more people and thinking outside of the box, and then also what I built up into that moment, momentum. There's a lot to be said about momentum. So whether you're starting momentum or in momentum or coming out of it, we all can recognize the power of momentum. And so do everything we can to get in that space. In 2008, our particular group, it's called our unit, we sold $50,000 more, Justin, than we did the year before. And I also brought 4 new leaders and 5 new car drivers from the bed in 2008. That's what happens. So I didn't see that season, and I don't see this season as a drawback. So I think it all starts with what we're believing is going to happen. Are we getting wrapped up in the negative? Are we deciding that there are pathways of possibilities? And like you said, breathing and asking powerful questions instead of pitiful ones. That's a huge thing. What kind of questions are we asking ourselves? Pitiful questions get you pitiful answers, and powerful questions get you empowering answers.
What would be some examples of some of the questions that when the emotions hit you, when the stress or the emotions hit you, or when they hit your team and your team is calling you, what are some of the questions that you encourage yourself to ask, or that you're encouraging your team to ask during during
So
stressful times, you know?
that's a great question. So you had mentioned getting into a certain part of your brain. So one of the things I do first is I ask them to change their physicality, because physicality can precede mentality. So the very first thing we do is have them say their name. So I was like, Roya, stand up. So when we go into panic mode, we go into stress mode, we'll naturally compress our diaphragm, where most of the oxygen comes from, because what happens, your posture becomes pitiful. This is a disempowering posture, and then you're not accessing the diaphragm. So first thing I have them do is change their posture, breathe deeply in the diaphragm. We do some oxygenating exercise, which is literally like just snapping your arms down and breathing deeply. We do it 3 series of 20 in a row, and that brings the oxygenation into the brain. So when you get in survival mode, you cannot access higher level of thinking, but you can command higher level of thinking by first posture and oxygenation. And then we ask the powerful question. So a pitiful question might be something like, why is this happening to me? That's a pitiful question. A powerful question is more, if everything was a gift, let's start with that baseline. If everything that happened to us, the good, the bad, the ugly, were a gift, what could we find as the gift in this moment right now? What could be the powerful reason that this is happening right now? What could possibly be the gift? Yesterday, I was driving with my kids, and the sky was a smattering of clouds of dark and light, Justin. And I pointed out to my kids, do you know why your breath is taken away right now? Why this is so beautiful? Because it's not only light and it's not only dark, it's both. And we get to experience highs and lows to really feel the fullness of the gifts of when we get to the highs. We get to see the light through the dark. This is a gift. So a powerful question, what could be the gift in this right now? Another powerful question could be, what within me could rise that would never have had the opportunity to rise without this challenge at this moment?
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, we have children, we're in relationships, we have our communities, our churches, we have teams, we have our businesses, we have our customers, and this is our moment to like increase our leadership, to like step our game up a little bit. One of the things that I'm encouraging people to do, and I'm doing myself, like, you almost can get kind of consumed in the minute by minute by minute by minute by minute, like what's changing. And so you're like, all you do is watch the news all day or whatever, and you're home a lot.
Yeah.
And what I'm telling people is like, make sure you're investing some personal time into your personal development. Like read a positive book, listen to a positive podcast, like, what you focus on expands, and so take some time to like pour some positivity into your life as well. Walk us through your passion specifically for like this she-ness movement that you built, like your passion for women, helping moms, and helping them to, I love what you said when we were chatting a while back. You said that sometimes we try and get the whole to-do list done, and you're like, it's okay to like pick 2 or 3 key things.
Absolutely. So this passion for she-ness has come from mentoring mostly women, not only exclusively. I also coach men, but coaching women mostly. And I've noticed a pattern that a lot of women are experiencing, is particularly high achieving women. And they can be high achieving in the home. It doesn't have to be at work. Just that personality of wanting to get things done, this driver personality. And that kind of person, we can be hard on ourselves, and we can also take charge a lot. And so what I noticed was we're still feeling, in this season of having it all, they're still feeling guilty as mothers, and a lot of not as satisfying relationships as they would like, kind of dissatisfied. They don't know why. Like, I should be, I'm grateful, but I don't know why I'm not feeling joyful enough in the process. And so that's how she-ness was born, because I was also experiencing some of that myself. And there's a lot of different things that we can do to help access more joy and more peace, meditation and journaling and yoga and groups that we get together with, and achieving things to help us feel even better. But as a woman in particular, I never knew there were specific outlets and exercises to relieve the tension in the body and access more joy than we can in any other method. So there's certain feminine things. I've gone to a lot of workshops now. I've done 800 hours of immersion training, and some of that just particularly for women. And it's been incredible to watch what can happen in the feminine embodiment when we fully get to be free. So if she's carrying a lot of tension in her shoulders, in her uterus, in her hips, has to carry antacids, any of those things are a showcase that she might be driving in what's called the masculine energy all the time or a lot of the time. And I have some key ways to kind of tap into real relief. And then, yes, permission to not have to do it all, particularly in the seasons that I was breastfeeding, having small children. Those are very hormonal and chaotic seasons, just like maybe right now. You might be in a chaotic season. I've got little ones at home. We just finally made the home schedule, but doesn't mean it's always going to flow right. They're home. And so picking 1 to 2 things that are going to most drive your next step to your success, whatever that might be, your next step, giving your permission to do just that one thing that whole day, or that 2 things that whole day, and saying, if I do that, I'm feeling great. So before, when I wasn't in this season, maybe I wanted to do a full hour of phone calls or outreaches. But now I'm like, okay, I want to pick my top 10 people to touch. And I feel good if I can get that in today.
I love it. So
clarifying where the win is, that's going to get you to the next win.
I love that. You know, I tell people, like, what's the next physical action that you can take? Like, what's the next attitude action you can take? Like, I remember when I would struggle as I was coming up through my career, I would say, I remember thinking, like, for example, I was doing door-to-door sales.
This is that's hardcore.
Yeah, this is hardcore. This is like legit, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I couldn't sell anything to anybody. My attitude just continued to fall apart. And I would say to myself, I would catch myself on that spiral. It's a lot about what you're saying about the questions. And I would say, what's the next emotional attitude action I can take that I can be in control? Like, what's the next win thing I could win at? And so I said, I'm going to walk with like intention from door to door. I remember I said, I'm going to show up with passion or enthusiasm. Like, they're going to like be like, who's this enthusiastic guy, you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, like, what's the next physical action that I can take? And so you start like asking those better questions, and then taking those better actions. What's kind of your parting wisdom here? You know, share with us maybe kind of your parting thoughts, again, particularly for women at this time. A lot of my audience is women. What's kind of your parting perspective or wisdom that you'd like them to know?
Let's see. I think now more than ever, we've got to focus on elevating our life by elevating our mood, elevating our immune system, and elevating the spirit in our household. So why don't I give like 6 quick steps to doing that as a parting, and then I want to invite you to our community, if that's okay, Justin, a women's community that's not a business. It's just a unification forum for high achieving women.
That's great.
So I would say number 1, to rewire your subconscious mind, there is a technique called an even more statement. So in order to have a different thought, your subconscious needs to be in agreement. You can start with conscious all you want, but really to make it a part of who you are, and therefore then who your household is, it's got to get to the unconscious level. So there is something called the power of the even more statement. So if you pick 3 to 5 to thrive, 3 things to 5 things that are going to address your subconscious thoughts that you want to change by saying the words even more. So if I said that I am looking for energy right now, or I'm looking for positivity right now, then you can say, I am healthy, or I am energetic, but your subconscious goes, no, you're not. If you say the words even more in front of it, it actually bypasses to the subconscious mind's agreement that you must be that and even more of it. So when I wanted to change my health, I actually have a YouTube video on how I lost 10 pounds without dieting, and it came with explaining more of the even more statements. If you want to look at it more, looking up Roya Mattis, how I lost 10 pounds without dieting. Anyways, even more, I've picked my health. So I'm even more energetic, even more fit. So things like that. So maybe even more positive, and be specific. So that would be number one, is rewire the subconscious mind, test out the even more statements, make them simple and succinct. Number two would be leveling up in your health journey. You guys have phenomenal products that you have. I know I've experienced them, Justin. I just reordered my metabolism booster. What's it called?
It was trim and burn. Yeah. So
Trim and burn. Yes, I love it. And so, when we feel like we're taking care of our physicality, our mood, our immune system, of course, goes up. So be sure that you give yourself and your family members probiotics every day. Be sure that you take your healthy supplements and that you're doing it routinely. So a machine that runs the dream. Number three would be journaling. When you're journaling, though, to access the true benefit of journaling with increasing your mood and your slant on life, or to get past a block. If you start with what within me is making me feel, or what within me is causing me to be blocked. And when you actually take pen to paper, there's something that happens in the subconscious mind that allows it to flow, and you'll probably you'll uncover answers you never knew were there. For example, I could not find a nanny for almost a year for my son. And I'm like, I know I need one, but I can't find anyone good. And my coach said, you must have a subconscious block. And I didn't even recognize it, Justin, until I asked what within me is afraid to have a nanny for my son. And it came out on paper, stuff I didn't even realize. Now, once you get to the answer, and it might take you an hour writing, it might take 30 minutes, it might take 3 hours. Once you get to the end of that, you have to write this statement. This is a lie. Here is the truth. And then you write your new truth. So perhaps you're feeling a block that your business can't thrive right now. This is a lie. Here is the truth. And then write the new truth. So that's number two. Number three is word blasting. If you're not a journaler, put the negative word in the center of your paper and just blast all your negative words like no one's going to see you. You can curse, whatever, tear it up, toss it out. Number five. So 4 was word blasting. 5 is powerful versus pitiful questions. We already touched on that. Asking yourself more powerful questions instead of pitiful. And then number 6 would be for men and women alike, getting that exercise going. To really get the aggression out, for men, it can often be heavy weights and boxing, women too. But women, as I mentioned to you, there is a special movement. There's special things that you need to do to decompress your body in a way that we can't access otherwise. So just invite you to check us out on Sheena's Tribe. It's on Facebook, High Achievers Women's Unity Forum. You look up Sheena's Tribe on Facebook under private groups, and we'll help you. That's a specialized movements that will help you within there.
Roya, I'm so proud of you. Love what you're doing. You're adding so much value to so many people, and appreciate your friendship. You're a bright light for so many. So fun to do this with you. We finally got it done. We both have crazy schedules, and it's been fun to finally knock it out. So appreciate
Justin,
you so much.
If there's anyone to follow in the world of direct sales, and I've been in it a long, long time, you are the highest of high calibers. I know that anyone that joins your team, that's already on your team, what you do, what you pour out, the messages you give, the people you put in their circle, the passion that you have, everything you do to set them up for the success is right within your container. I mean, I could not be more of a fan of you. I could not be more proud to be your friend. I could not be more grateful for you allowing me in your circle and spending time with me as well. So every time I'm in your space, I grow, and I know they do too. So thank you for having me.
Well, we love you. And, one of the things that's a blessing, one of the blessings of this whole COVID-19 thing is we get to reconnect as a human species. You know what I'm saying? Like as a human race, like we're not like blue states and red states. We're United States. We're not just the United States. We're a global world of people that are saying we all have a common enemy, which is, this virus, and we all have a common friend, which is each other. So just love you and appreciate all the great work you do.
Thank you. Love you too.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. And if you got some value, put the word value in the comments, share this into your groups and chats and teams that you feel like would benefit from hearing this message. And we'll talk to you guys again real soon.